I will start explaining what we did on the backbone infrastructure, the stability we reached. Now we are with a full VPLS infrastructure. We deploy also new POPs. We perform some backbone capacity upgrades. Now we have 100 gig ports available. And we spend also some time on Marseille because we have now 2 POPs. We remove all the copper ports during the last year. It was a huge work. I will explain why. And then I will also do an update about the root servers. Some work to add visibility for our members, and I will finish with the current projects we have for next year. So starting with the backbone infrastructure, I will spend half of my presentation with that. The stability. Last year, we were talking about the issues we had and the fix we were waiting from Juniper. Now we can say that we reached stability. We performed an upgrade in November last year to solve the main issue we have just after having deployed the new boxes, the Juniper switches. And after having worked with Juniper very hard with meetings every day, we found a solution, we have the fix, and the flooding issue was solved. We performed another upgrade this year. It was in June. It was to fix an IPFix issue we encounter when we try to activate IPFix flows. This issue was, in fact, that we were not able to define the size reserved for the VPLS flows on each FPC, on each line card. We work with Juniper to find the problem, and they provide a fix for that. And we wait June. We have the fix in April, but we decide to wait until June to be sure that this fix is not stable and not introducing a new bug. So that's why we prefer to wait before, instead of introducing a risk to have another bug. I will talk about the IPFix collector later on my presentation. What we did also to have stability is to reinforce the filters we apply on the edge, on the customer interfaces. We add specific rules to be more strict, to avoid any kind of unwanted traffic. And also we have a filter in the global instance to filter something like a STP in case of we have a lack on one port on the customer side, to be sure that we have the filters. What we are doing also is monitoring the flooded traffic. We install sniffers on strategic POPs, and we are checking regularly if we have flooded traffic. And for example, we saw that we have more than 40 members announcing IPv6 router advertisements. For example, it's one example just. So after contacting each member, we have today 3 or 4 members only announcing router advertisement. It's very difficult to reach 0, but we expect to be at 0 soon. Other things we monitor, it's for example that members are not sending CDP, STP, or install an RP proxy and start sending requests from other networks than the France6 network. We have now the platform stable from almost 1 year, and we do everything to continue with this stability. One link, interesting link, if you want to check the network technical specifications, where we remind what we are filtering and what we cannot be sent by a member. Now I will talk about the infrastructure update. We remove After having installed the Juniper boxes, we remove all the edge equipment to install the Brocade we have in the core. So we remove more than 7 boxes. Principally, it was 4 stand boxes and also some Cisco or Juniper small switches. With that, we have now a full VPLS infrastructure. We can have homogeneous processes if we deploy a new POP. It's very easy now with a Brocade. We know that in the edge we install a Brocade. We have templates for the configurations. And with that, we performed last year more than 7 upgrades. We have, as I said, the VPLS configured on all ports, and the STP has been removed. No STP now in France AX infrastructure. Now I will talk about the new POPs we deployed in Paris. As Frank said this morning, we activate the DC3, Iliad DC3 POP in the south of Paris with an MLX Brocade. We have 2 fibers, one fiber going to Interaction 5 core POP and another one to Iliad DC2 POP. And we have 70 gigs of capacity in each link. I will talk about later about the capacity, why we are putting, for example, 70 gigs of capacity if we only have members connected with 30 gig maximum. I will explain why. Another important POP just done during the summer, it was the Teleost 3 POP. As Frank said, why we install a POP in Teleost 3, it's to reach a new kind of customers. We have already some corporate profiles, but we want to have additional profiles like this. And others, of course. We have already a contract signed for the first client, and we expect more contracts before the end of this year. Solen will detail probably this in her presentation. Same box, a Brocade MLX8. What was difficult for this POP, as you probably know, Teleost 3 is far from 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers from Paris, and the other POPs are closer. So when we put a dark fiber, it's very easy. We know almost the attenuation we will have, and it's easy to deploy a new POP when we have 5 kilometers, for example. For that was a little bit different, so we work with the operators, and generally for the other POPs we have 4 or 5 operators that can provide dark fiber. For this POP it was different. We don't have the choice, so we work very hard with the partners, and we obtain dark fiber from Zayo, and another not dark fiber, but 10 gigs activated by Teleost on their own DWDM infrastructure. Now, backbone capacity upgrade. Frank told this morning that we performed some upgrades. We did this during the summer, so the summer was not only for holidays for us. We worked hard during the summer. Of course, we took some holidays, but we worked very hard also with all the team. We doubled the capacity on the core, so now we have 200 gigs in the between Teleost 2, Interaction 5, and Interaction 2. And also we doubled the capacity at least on the edge. So for example, one site that was connected before at 10 gigs, now we put the WDM equipment and we can have 40 gigs. And for others, for example, we had 40 gigs and now we have 70 gigs. This is the case, for example, for DC3 POP. We have a simple rule, is that we want to avoid congestion. So the traffic should be less than 30%, and if we reach between 30 and 50%, we see to perform an upgrade. Why? Not only for if, for example, we have a failure on one link and the traffic is automatically rerouted. You know that we are using ISIS on our core, and the traffic is automatically rerouted. But also, if we have, for example, a new customer arriving on the edge and asking for 20 or 30 gigs, it was already the case, we want to deliver this capacity very quickly. So in, for example, 1 week, we are able to provide 30 gigs of capacity for a new customer. And if we don't have this over-provisioning, we cannot provide this so fast. So even if we have a spare, we want to have enough capacity on all the POPs to be very reactive. About 100 gig ports, you know that one of the reasons of what we did an upgrade of Juniper boxes was to support the 100 gig interfaces, but we prefer to wait a little bit to be sure that it was the good time to launch an offer. So now we have the cards. As Frank said, we received the cards during the summer, and we are able to provide a 100 gig offer. Solène will detail this in his presentation, but technically we have the cards for the Paris POPs. Interface will be LR4, and it's available on Teleost 2, Interaction 2, and Interaction 5. And also in Marseille, we decided to install Juniper boxes. One of the reasons was also to be able to provide 100 gig interface faster. If you are connected in another POP, or if you plan to connect to another POP, and you are interested by 100 gig offer, please contact us. We can see if we can do a study for that. If, for example, we can replace the equipment if you are interested in. We have to discuss. Another interesting point is the end of copper. It's important to do upgrades, but it's also important to remove what we are not using or what we consider legacy. For us, copper was difficult to manage. Why? Because we have a lot of cables. Cabling copper ports are more difficult than cabling fiber ports. The density, it's more complicated to manage for the copper ports, and the bandwidth that you can have for with a copper port is less than that you can have with a fiber. Also, it's easy to monitor. It's easier to monitor a fiber port. We have some indicators. You can have, for example, you have an issue on the fiber. You can see if the issue is on the receiver or the sender. You have the dB measurements in the fiber, and in the copper you don't have this. So for us, it was easy. It was a good decision to say it's the end of the copper port. We spend a lot of time convincing members to move to a single mode fiber, but finally we success on that. Some pictures. Of it's the Teleost 2 POP, where we have a lot of fiber, a lot of copper ports, and also the multimode fiber. We still have some members connected in multimode. We will not remove in the short term, but we not connect new members with multimode fiber. With that, we can optimize the processes. We have only one type of cable, one type of SFP, and we are simplifying processes not only for for connecting members, but also for billing, for to manage the stock. It's easy now that we have only one kind of fiber, one type of connection. Regarding Marseille, Franco showed this slide, but I think it's important to put the the picture, because for us, as Frank said, we always believe in Marseille. We spend a lot of time convincing members to move to Marseille, convincing content operators and also French operators to be in Marseille. And now we see that we have the traffic increasing every day. We did an operation in December to move to a new rack provided by Interaction. We were hosted in a rack of one member, Jaguar, and we moved to Interaction. And we perform another maintenance in January to move to the new infrastructure. So you can see that we performed the two operations just in December and January, and just after this, we install a lot of 10 gig ports, more than 20 gig ports, and more or less the same of 1 gig ports. And we see that just after this operation, the traffic start growing. So it was we have less than 1 gig last year. We have now peaks around 50 gigs. What we will do also in October, we will replace the brocade that is in place now to move to a Juniper box. The Juniper box is already on site, and we plan to do it in mid of October. We don't want to wait until the last moment where we have the switch saturated, probably beginning of next year. We want to anticipate and do it now. And of course, we will be able with that to support 100 gig interfaces. Another POP deployed in Marseille was Jaguar, as Frank said this morning. Why we want to deploy a new POP? Now we have the mass, a critical mass, to say that some members perhaps and probably would like to have a redundancy. So it's important to provide this kind of service. Of course, we choose the same platform to not differentiate one POP or another one. So if 100 gig ports will also available on this POP. That's all for the backbone infrastructure update. Don't hesitate if you have any question later when I will finish my presentation. I will do an update about the root servers. So the root servers, as we announced in the mailing list 1 year before, in the plan to have more stability, it was to have the root servers directly connected. In the past, we have the root servers connected to our virtualized infrastructure, and we decide to move to dedicated boxes connected directly on the fabric, of course, in different POPs. So we have one root server connected in Teleost 2 POP, another one in Interaction 5. And we are doing the same for Marseille. We will have one root server connected in Interaction in Marseille and another one in Jaguar. We will do it in the next few months. We work also to add additional services on the root servers. BGP add pass is now available. We also have an asset. We have extended BGP communities to support advanced features. You can use 32 bits ASNs. And all is detailed in the RIPE object AS 51706. We perform also minor upgrades to fix some bugs we had on Bird. Adding visibility. It's very important for us to be transparent and to provide visibility to our members. So what we did, we developed a weather map that is available on our website. This is transparent. You can see every time you want, connecting to our website, the bandwidth between two POPs. And is also useful for us because sometimes we saw some messages written by some people in the mailing list saying, I have an issue on my traffic. I don't know if it's France IX, perhaps saturation on France IX. With that, we permit to have more visibility for you. You can directly check what you have. And this is a good example because we see, as I said, that we want to have less than between 30 and 50% of traffic. And you can see one link here between DC2 and TH2, Teleost 2 POP. We are doing an upgrade currently to have less than 30% of traffic. Another thing is the looking glass. We use the bird looking glass, and someone on the technical side, Alexandre, adapt the scripts to have both root servers visible. So this is an example where you can see the France IX prefix. We can reach directly via our router the prefix, but also Neo Telecom, Zayo, France, and Mediactive is announcing the prefix. And you can see here that the best route is this one. If, for example, you have BGP at pass, you will receive the 3 next stops, and you will be able to choose. If you don't have BGP at pass, the root server will send the best. It's the star here. We are working on, as I said, we worked on having, again, flow statistics. We were blocked because we didn't have statistics exported by the Juniper boxes. We have now this, since we activate the IPFix. We activate IPFix progressively to check that we are not impacting the backbone. And now we have IPFix activated on all the POPs. Where we have a Juniper box, and we are able to provide we will be able to provide statistics. So we have the statistics. We are working to finalize the portal. So you will have, it will be something like that. You will have the global traffic, and you will be able to zoom to obtain the traffic. To have the top talkers, the 5 top talkers, and click if you want to see the traffic between the member A. You are the member A. You want to see the traffic with member B. You will be able to do it through this interface. To do that, we are deploying, we are renewing our server infrastructure. We are renewing everything. All the virtualized infrastructure has been renewed. And also a developer is working on this to provide this interface. About out-of-band. Out-of-band, why we are talking about this, it's an internal thing, but it's important to see that the process for the external are the same in internal. We want to have same process to connect to every equipment. Before that, we have sometimes a Cisco to connect to the routers. Another one, it was another kind of equipment, and every time we want to connect to an equipment, we have to say which kind of equipment I have in this POP. It was very difficult, so we decided to remove everything and to install new boxes. Now we have the same process to connect to the management interfaces, and we have in all the POPs a console interface. It's very important, and everything is redundant, of course. I will finish my presentation with 2 slides. One to talk about the SLA, Service Level Agreement. We are working on to deploy the SLAs for beginning of next year. We made a study to to select the most appropriate solution. We compare some turnkey solutions with a homemade solution based on open source tools. We decide to do it with a homemade solution. We also took the decision to have a one dedicated box per POP and to have a 10 gig interfaces for these boxes to be able to perform some stress tests if needed. What we will measure, the delay, the jitter, no, not surprises. Delay, jitter, frame loss, and also other PKIs like reachability per customer, per POP, and global reachability. It will be useful to be also transparent and provide some numbers to our members. Another thing is the marketplace. What is marketplace? We already talked about this morning. It's a set of services we want to add to the portfolio. We are providing peering with the fabric, but we would like to add additional services, and we want to start with IP transit service. We are in touch with some transit providers, and the idea is to have at least 2 or 3 providers to launch the offer. And for the customer, it will be very simple. We will use the same port. We will add an additional dedicated VLAN to be able to communicate with the transit provider. So technically, it's very easy. We are working on to have these 2-3 transit providers, and hopefully we will be able to launch this offer soon. So I did this presentation. I finished. I did the presentation, but take in mind that this work has been done by all the team. As Frank said, we have 2 new engineers, and we had already 2 people working in FranceX before. So now we are 5 in the team, and that's why we can do all this work, technical work. So I finish. If you have any question, please.
Thank you for your presentation. I was just looking at your website looking for the weather map, and I can't find it. Is it already online?
Yes, the weather map, in fact, if you go to traffic statistics, you will have it.
Okay, it's on the portal then. I have to be logged in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Anything about DDoS mitigation or even detection on the IXP?
Yes, it's one of the things we have on the pipe. I didn't list all the things we want to do. We know that we will do. There are some solutions, and for example, the dead gig solution is one of the solutions we can do. We will do it. Probably the first quarter of next year. It's not very complicated, but it's on the pipe.
Thank you, Simon.
Excited to be with you guys today, and awesome improvements to the team that Simon just presented, and you'll see why in my slides that kind of stuff has me excited.
This year I'm asking you another question. Who do you think will be this 300th connected party? Don't be shy.